Hey guys, okay, I want to go over the version 2.9 update, and also I want to go over a troubleshooting item that's separate from that for guys who are really power users and know what's going on here. 2.9 update's pretty small, so I'll just throw in that other one while we're at it. It's just nice. So here's what the 2.9 update was all about. Let me open, and we got the 2.9. Everything looks the same. And let me just load up a profile, okay? All right, I'm just loading something, whatever. Here's what we used to have. FTP tab. This thing was glitchy as the blue blazes. And what I mean by that was you couldn't just flip around between one version and the next, right? If I just went to something completely different, say, and I just went and opened who knows what, and I don't know, opened that, okay? Then if you flipped here, it would cache the information from the last website over, or it would drop this entirely and stick the ABC123 at the end of this all over again, right? Whoops. And this would just be gone. And you'd think, what the heck? And that would be such a pain, all right? And if you load another one, you know, something else, and you go here, it would just be gone or it'd be cached over from another website. Now, of course, I've got all the emoji samples in this case, but the reality check is this. This is now stable. This FTP tab is finally stable. It's not glitchy. It's not like you're going to lose this information. It's not like you're going to run into problems with it, really. And so it's good. Keep in mind, you still have to make sure that these three items match, okay? The domain name you want and your username and password. But before, if you would have done something like this, I don't know, you had some changes to make, okay? Like so. And you changed, who knows what you changed, and you save it. If you went here, oh, I'm sorry, not the form submit, but the FTP, then this would be gone. You would have to find it again. And this would just well, it would be the same anyway. You still have to make sure to update it, right? So if I got mojisamples22.com here, I need mojisamples22.com there if I want to upload to the same website. Right now, it's just the assumption is you want to upload to the same website, but you could do it differently. And I don't need to do anything with the project unless I'm intentionally doing that. Those of you who are in the know, you could put them up in the project if you're a power player and you understand what that's all about. Okay, but you don't need to. You could put it right into the root, okay, which for most of you should have public underscore HTML at the end of it, right? That's how it should be. It should look like that normally at the end of whatever that is. And if it goes in an add-on, of course, it looks like this, and then whatever your add-on folder would be, okay? But nonetheless, the idea is if I go saving that now, it'll stick. Okay, so now you can freely load between one and the next. Nothing gets in your way of loading and saving from one to the next and always having it come out just right. Okay, it's the right one each time around. It doesn't bring the information across. Now that's just awesome. So you can go back to loading these profiles anytime you want and not worrying about losing information or information getting messed up or anything like that. Just make sure that whatever you want to use for your FTP username and password, whether you have it on or off, is what you're using, FTP username and password, with the difference that, of course, usually you want to upload things to your root, whatever your root is. And again, for you, it should have, I'm just beating a dead horse to make sure you remember this piece. Okay, if you're doing these on your own. All right, as opposed to using our profile creator, which takes care of that for you. On HostMonster accounts, it's set up that way through our HostMonster link. For those of you who don't know, if you want to get the perfect setup for the profile creators, we have, and this is the right way to go. Go to moji-crew.com, scroll down to the resources page. Okay. Oh, that's that's the full trainer page. But if you go to the main page, moji-crew.com, and if you scroll down to the resources page down here, this is our top recommendation for website hosting. In 5 years now, we've never gotten throttled. Use this link when you go, because HostMonster seems to understand that people coming through this link, when they go setting up their website, when they go doing this for themselves, are going to be Moji guys who do a lot of hefty uploading. And we have never had a problem getting throttled where guys using HostGator have. And you might say, well, what do you mean? HostGator, Bluehost, and HostMonster are all owned by the same company. Well, whatever the case is, people coming through our link here don't have throttling issues. All right, that's why we keep saying do it right the first time around. It doesn't cost you a dime more if you get it through this link or if you get it directly from HostMonster. But if you get it through this link, you're just setting yourself up to not have to worry about throttling issues. It's just wiser to go ahead and do it. All right. And also, if you need help with your FTP paths, I'll help you out. Because if you're going through that link, first of all, you're doing me a favor. And second of all, I know what your format should be. If you tell me you're using an add-on domain, I know exactly how your domain name should look, how your FTP path should look, and what to tell you you need for your password and your logon, everything else. Because you're using what we recommend and what we tell people to use, so everything's uniform. So there you go. It's on the MOWG resources page, and it's that right there. Okay, now that I've said that, let me point out a troubleshooting issue for really power players. There are guys among you who know how to, and let me just sort of, actually, let me go here. Okay, I'm just kind of sticking with the HB now. It's the newest, greatest, latest thing. And there are guys among you who know how to set these things up for multiple websites at once. So you're not just using it on one website, but you've got versions of this, and you've got like 10 of them, and you actually know enough to adjust the coding to create versions of this thing and to actually run with all those different websites at once. So say you're going to do that, but they're all going to have the same top 10 menu items, right? So your top 10 keywords become your top 10 menu items normally when you run it the way we do it. Okay, and so if you're doing this and you have top 10 keywords here, top 10 project folders, right? Then that's what's going to be produced for your Moji runs, right? Top 10 project folders. Okay, now here's going to be the problem. If you're doing multiple websites at the same time and you actually know how to do that, and you actually know how to make the profiles run in parallel at the same time on many websites, but they're using the same project folder names, here's our new problem. If they're running at the same time and they're using the same top 10 keywords, top 10 menu items, then they're going to be dumping at the same time into the same folders. Now that's a mistake, right? That means they're going to mix up the index pages, they're going to mix up the master sitemap and the sitemap links. You're going to have links from 10 different websites stuck on here, or it's just going to keep creating a master sitemap 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that kind of thing, right? And that's a mistake. You don't want that to happen at all. Right? So what should you do? And the answer is keep your 10 domains separate from each other. An easy way to do it is like this. Let's just say I have my first website might be website number 1, okay? Second website, website number 2. Third website, website number 3, etc. And so I want to be able to produce each of these things into each of those, one per website, right? I want this stack going in here. For the second website, though, I want another stack going in here so it's separate, so they cannot mix and match, right? I wouldn't be copying. I'd be running these all at the same time, but this is how it'll look in the end. That's my point, is that you'll still see the same folders, but they have different paths, right? This is for the first website. This is for the next website. And again, these can be named any way you want. You can name them by number, or you can just like rename. You can name them by the site. If it was like maybe Moji Samples, maybe that's what I want to call that. If this was like industry leaders, maybe I want to call it IL. Who cares? All I know is I just need it to keep them separate if they're running all at the same time. Again, this is for power players, right? Guys who know how to get this far. Uh, for guys who didn't know you could get this far, get the idea that you can. But how do you do that? That's simple. In your original profiles, and again, say you had 10 of them, okay, and you knew how to set them up separately or run them separately, remember what you can do, okay? Say this was my first one, or whatever one, it doesn't matter which one, but you know how it saves to the target run folder, right? Well, what I need is for this particular website, this folder, this run, to be different than other websites, other runs that are using the same basic thing. Okay, they're using the same or a copy of this anyway because they're running at the same time. but they're going with the same top 10 keywords. So I'm going to have this be whatever that first one was, right? I'm just going to make sure to save them the way they're supposed to be saved all the time. Give them kind of permanent homes. This is Moji samples. Whoops. So I'm going to have it save right there. Boom. And so it will. It will save to Moji samples and run up the files from there. Or you can manually do it yourself by just going in there, right? You can just go in there yourself anytime after you generate a run, and you can do whatever you want. You can zip these up and send them to a client and tell them to upload to his root. You can upload them yourself using FileZilla or some FTP program and just upload it up to your own website, whatever you want to do. But here they are. And then what's cool about this is even if this is deleted later on, because our automation, of course, will delete these things out. Since, okay, it's just getting rid of that real quick. Since that is the path that you set on this thing, it will recreate that folder. So if the folder does not already exist, it doesn't matter. When this runs, whether you run it manually like this or whether you run it through a batch file, it'll be auto-generated anyway. And so it's just kind of like your permanent home for that particular website, right? And that's a cool way to think about it. It's a cool way to deal with it. And for those of you who like to go even further and create versions, you can create like a MOWG-Samp-1, MOWG-Samp-2, stuff like that. For those of you who really want to get that far into doing separate runs in separate ways, you can do that. All right, so that's what's up with the 2.9. The biggest thing about it is that this thing doesn't lose the information like this. The only reason it's lost now is because I didn't have it in there on this particular version or it got lost before. But if I do go back and load something else, something that was working before, whatever it is, WAP, and I come here, this is not lost. See, it's there. It didn't get dropped or anything. No more glitchiness with the load feature. You can just load away, go from one to the next, and it's all good to go. All right, hope you enjoy the 2.9 and that little bit of troubleshooting idea for those power users for saving your runs to separate subfolders inside the runs folder for doing different websites at the same time without mixing and matching the projects for the different websites. Okay, hope you enjoy that, and I'll probably wind up going over that stuff again on some webinar in the future for guys who have questions, so don't worry about it. It'll just come clear as you go. And again, that's for power users. I don't even have anything set up publicly for that. That's for guys who go out of their way because they know enough to do it, to create versions of the batch file, maybe versions of the CSV files and things. And they know how to just really doctor it to run very big, several websites at once and stuff like that. Okay, hope you enjoyed it. There's the 2.9.